welcome to this oracle reading. Today we have the Green Witches Oracle deck. So, I haven't done something like this in a little bit, so I thought I would pull a few cards for 3 different groups. So they're kind of like collective readings. And you can choose one group or you can watch all of them. And I can link the different groups in the description below. Okay. This is a new deck I got, and so I really wanted to play around with it and enjoy it with you, as it's brand new and I haven't even opened it yet. So it says here, embrace the wisdom and insight of natural magic. Just a reminder that this is definitely for encouragement, affirmation, and it's more collective. So take what you need and leave what doesn't resonate. Okay, with that, let me pull a few cards for each group. Here we have the book. Comes with, oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. So this is the little oracle deck book, and I will be referring to this since this is new to me. Okay, these are the cards. This is just so beautiful. And if you're interested in this, I can link it. I bought it, I think a TikToker I follow was using it in a reading, and I really liked it, so I bought it. So this is the back or cover, I should say. Very beautiful. There's just something very healing about nature, and this is some of the illustrations. So very beautiful. So now we have group 1, 2, and 3. And I also paired a crystal, so if you don't feel immediately drawn to any of these piles, we can take a look at each crystal briefly. So this is blue calcite from Mexico, and this relates to the chakra of the throat and the third eye. It has a soothing, calming, and gentle energy. Common uses are emotional healing, communication, and intuition. So it's known for its calming energy and is often used to relieve anxiety and stress. It supports clear, compassionate communication and is believed to help you process emotions in a healthier way. Spiritually, it's used to enhance intuition and facilitate restful sleep or dream recall. So this is for group 1, the blue calcite. For group 2, we have the green fluorite octahedron. This is connected to the heart chakra. It has a cleansing, harmonizing, mentally clarifying energy. Common uses are for focus, healing, decision making. It is strongly associated with cleansing and renewal. The octahedron shape adds balance and harmony, making this crystal ideal for clearing negative energy and enhancing clarity, especially during emotional overwhelm or mental confusion. It's often used to support growth, intuition, and heart-centered decisions. So, if you relate 2 are green fluorite and group 2. This is your reading. And then finally we have this amethyst spirit quartz. It's related to the crown chakra, third eye, as well as the energy is high vibrational, protective, and spiritually attuned. Its common uses are spiritual connection, energetic cleansing, group harmony. It combines the protective and spiritual qualities of amethyst with amplified energy due to its sort of druzy, crystal-covered surface. It's known for aiding meditation, strengthening your connection to higher realms, and promoting peace within group dynamics. It also helps release fear, resentment, and past attachments. So if that is something interesting to you, group 3, this is your crystal and your reading. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and start with group 1. So if you are ready, group 1, we will start with you. Alright, so group 1, this is your reading, and I have 3 cards that I have yet to see as well. So let's go ahead, and we first have Sage, Wisdom, Purification, and Harmony. Next, we have Earthworm, Clarity, Rumination. And the last one is Earth, Peace, Grounding. That's so beautiful. Okay, so for Sage, I have the guidebook open, so I'll read what this card means for you. Sage is a wise herb. It reassures you that you are grounded and stable, and that the wisdom you need is easily accessible if you look in the right place. The Sage card reminds you that insight can appear from unlikely sources. Being in harmony with your environment allows you to receive messages and act on them more easily than if you are living in discord. Listening can bring balance, and purification can remove obstacles that further cloud that exchange of information and communication. Remember that what may not make sense now might fall into place later. Don't be so quick to dismiss advice that doesn't make sense immediately. Remain open and wisdom will come to you. And the reflection question is, how can you help to facilitate the communication of wisdom from your surroundings? So, this is definitely, I feel strongly, talking about that harmony in your environment, where maybe you're expecting things to happen a certain way and they're just not doing that. And what you may not be noticing is that the environment or the change of results, maybe of things you didn't expect, leads you to a different path or a different discovery than maybe what you wouldn't have encountered before if you had sort of gone through the same motions or the same patterns. It's kind of like when you're driving and there's suddenly a new route you have to take, and along the new route you might notice a new store or a new site that you hadn't seen before. And it's kind of like that, where we go through life with these predictions of what we want to happen or these patterns, but when that pattern changes, it can be a little discomforting, but then also you end up making discoveries that communicate new things to you. So I feel like that's definitely coming through. Okay, so the next card is Earthworm. This card is the Earthworm, Clarity, Rumination. It's the humble earthworm breaks down organic material and aerates soil, serving an essential function in the health of plants. Without the earthworm's work, the soil would be too heavy and lack the oxygen roots need to survive. Additionally, the organic matter wouldn't be as well blended in the soil. The earthworm card reminds you that some essential work is happening under the surface of your life. Nature is bringing you closer to your goal. It also suggests that it's time to confront what troubles you. Consider breaking down big emotions into less intimidating, smaller chunks that are easier to digest and understand. What can you do to help yourself when you feel overwhelmed? So, there's definitely a lot of earth in this trio here, and because the calcite speaks to emotions as well as the throat, which is like communication, I think it's kind of, this card is speaking to, there's like communication to yourself that's struggling, maybe like emotional communication. Emotions can be so hard to understand, so this like clarity rumination really stands out, where you may be feeling that there's a lot of overwhelming emotions and it's easier to kind of numb than to kind of let those emotions take over, because there's a little bit of fear about what those emotions can make you do, how they might make you react. And of course, you know, all of us don't want to be out here emotionally reacting to one another and just lashing out with no regard for other people or their feelings, but there is something to be said about healthy emotional regulation and just understanding your emotions and what you need. A question I've often tried to ask myself is, what do I need right now? What is this emotion telling me that I really need? What need is being unmet? And what am I trying to grow but feel is being stifled or suffocated or challenged? One thing about growth is that it doesn't happen when you're just kind of ignoring the problem, right? At least within ourselves, it requires needs being met, like sunlight or circulation of the soil or watering every day. And so, similar to plants, the plants in our lives, the things we wish to grow, we are the earthworms of our growth, and we have to kind of make sure we're feeding that growth with the needs to be met. Maybe those needs are love, like self-love. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's communicating what we need other people to be doing, like boundaries. Maybe it's doing less for others and setting that boundary to not overcommit to things that are stretching you thin, and like no one's asking you to do a lot, and you're just kind of overextending yourself. There's a lot of different needs we all have, and I think one of the most powerful things is to recognize like what's within your power and what's within others, and to know that you have a power in you to foster what you need and advocate for what you need. Okay, so Earth is peace and grounding. The Earth card offers a moment of reflection and connection. You may be losing yourself and becoming too focused on work, schedules, and to-do lists. Sometimes you don't realize how far you've strayed from your relationship with nature and its calming energy. Even those of us who work with nature daily can sometimes get set in our ways and become complacent. This card is a reminder to consciously renew your connection with nature and listen to what the natural world has to say. Take a step back and breathe, giving yourself space to find balance. Clear your mind and open it to the communication of nature. Let its energy soothe and revitalize you as you ground yourself in the earth. The reflection is, do you need to reboot your connection to nature, or maybe help someone else to connect to nature? It's definitely like a very simple message, it's really learning a lot from touching grass, as they say. And it could be as simple as just going on a walk, and maybe if you feel safe to do so, leaving your phone behind, or bringing it with you, but just not being on it. Walking in nature and just trying to get out as much as you can when the weather allows you to is something to really, foster, because there's something so grounding about listening to nature, being amongst the little animals who are sort of doing their thing, and people watching and watching people play, watching people rest, maybe taking a nap on the grass. I'm a big advocate of picnics and just like lounging outside if you can, and the local parks can often be a great place to do that. Even just being near water, hearing the sound of water, the sound of birds, it's truly cleansing. And I think that so often we're trying to do all of these self-care habits that require a lot of critical thinking, or practices that require complexities, whereas nature is really just asking us to be present and there, and to observe and to experience beauty in front of us and be a part of that beauty. And that's really all it requires. There's nothing else you really need to be doing. And I just think that is the beauty in and of itself of your presence. There's this quietness that can come to you if you maybe even meditate in nature and just have like a quiet or nature atmospheric environment that allows you to quiet the mind and in a way allow space to slow your thoughts down, slow the overwhelm, the need to pack on your to-do list and try to get as much done every day. And it's just a reminder that like time is here, and we are in the day, we are in the present moment. There's just something so simple and human about just being present with nature, and a reminder that we are like the other natural beings, right, on our planet. The animals, the growth of nature, all of us are here living together, and it's kind of sort of a calling to you to take priority and in that realm and find ways to reconnect, whether it's with yourself or taking someone you love, to just be where you can get some sunlight, be near some water, things like that. There's a lot of earth as mentioned in these cards, and I think one thing to mention about nature, because while nature can be beautiful and pleasant, there's struggle, there's challenge, there are stormy weather, and there is, environments that can be shaken. And so I think one thing that nature continues to show us is that while maybe there's destruction, or maybe there are challenges or challenging weather, that growth can still persist. Life finds a way, if you will. And I think that speaks to who we are as humans, that we find a way through. When you're experiencing patterns or roads or paths that are discomforting, maybe realizing what you might discover along the way, or what new path you need to forge, what cycles you need to take notice of, what patterns you need to see are maybe stifling your growth or have been, and that maybe these new paths are a way for you to meet your unmet needs and find that power within yourself, instead of projecting or expecting other people to do it for you, or to like wake up one day and expect other people to do it. That doesn't mean you don't deserve love and support. And I think there's that beauty of just being present amongst others, amongst nature, and a reminder that we still have this love that connects us, this desire to live life, even if that desire can be challenging to have. So I definitely feel this sense of groundedness, this need to ground and connect with just your humanity right now, and allow that to take precedence, and maybe put away the to-do list, maybe put away the expectations for right now, for one day, for 1 hour. Try to, go about your responsibilities with a fresh mindset of how you want to be moving through the world, and that there might be certain things within your power. There might be new paths you can walk. And sometimes you find that you have been the one forcing yourself to walk down the same path that has maybe become challenging. But maybe it was comfortable, and it was predictable. But now you might be called to take a new path, forge something new, to grow something you've been wanting to grow for a while. And to know that that is the greatest act of self-love, is to find a way to grow the things that matter to you, to meet those unmet needs. And sometimes those needs, you may have thought needed to be met a certain way, but you're being called to just be open to new opportunities, things that maybe you didn't expect. Of course, you can only kind of see what's in front of you, so it's okay to go after things, try things out, but it's about remaining open to taking different paths and noticing along the way what new discoveries you might have that could impact the way you feel, believe, think about things, and you may discover things beyond your dreams, So, I hope you enjoyed this reading and resonated with something here. Thank you for watching Group 1, and I appreciate you. Okay, Group 2, you have the green fluorite. So these are your 3 cards. Okay. So first we have Moon. Oh, that's so pretty. And that says phases, cycles, intuition. Next we have the Cauldron. This is creation, opportunity, caring. And the last one is spring, rebuilding, awakening, rebirth. Okay, group 2. So let's look at the meanings of the cards. I have the book here to start us off. So the first card is the moon. The pale glowing moon is visible at different degrees throughout its monthly cycle. Even though its appearance changes, the moon is always present. Take solace in knowing nature is always there for you. The waxing and waning of the moon reminds you that nothing is static and that change is both inevitable and healthy. You just may not be able to see it all the time. The phases of the moon represent various energies as manifested in the growth and retreat cycle of nature itself. Nothing is ever at a standstill in the natural world, and the same goes for the energy flowing inside you. Sometimes you may find you retreat into yourself, and other times you reach outward for help. The moon card asks you to trust what your intuition tells you to do. The reflection is, do you tend to withdraw when overwhelmed, or do you reach out for help? So it's really interesting because our green fluorite supports the heart chakra and like tuition and decision making with the heart. And yeah, I just find that the moon, this card is speaking to the phases of life and how literally things can change overnight, right? Our moods, our situations, you know, a lot of things, our environment sort of impacts us and we impact our environment. Also an internal cycle within yourself where there are phases you go through internally and it can be potentially really overwhelming, right? Really high highs or low lows. And of course, we're not speaking to any mental, conditions at this time. I think that this can speak in general to the just human intuition. It's sort of our lighthouse. It's our signaler to what feels right and what feels not so right. Even if we don't know a solution, often we have feelings about how something might go. And then there are things that can surprise us, but I think connecting to your intuition is going to be really important for whether it's internal things or outside things. I feel like there's this general potential overwhelm in your internal world, and it's really hard to kind of feel stable, mellow. And unfortunately, one of the big, human life situations here is that nothing is ever going to stay the same all the time. It could be the case that you have found boredom with things in your life, and that's why you're feeling more frustrated or irritated because you realize you need a change. That's something that's been going on, has met needs in the past but no longer is meeting the needs you now have, the concerns, the goals, the desires that you now have in this phase of your life, and you may just desire that change within yourself even if everything else hasn't really changed, because you have newfound wisdom. Inevitably you have changed, so therefore you're navigating maybe a cycle, maybe over the course of weeks or months, and it might continue on. Sort of up to you to decide if, your next move or what's really important to you during these next few phases and how you want to handle future changes, right? Future iterations of these challenges are going to come, right? Life is life and there's ups and downs, so you have to find a way to emotionally navigate it and find the tools you need to support yourself in those transitions. But let's go ahead and get into the next card for more insight. So this is the Cauldron. It's creation, opportunity, caring. The meaning is self-transformation. One of the central goals of witchcraft can be intimidating. The Cauldron card reassures you that brewing change is a chance to create new opportunities for yourself as well as those around you. This can be as simple as adopting a fresh outlook. The Cauldron encourages you to think creatively and to try combining things that may not seem to work together at first glance to solve a problem. The Cauldron is also a symbol of nourishing yourself and others. Caring for those around you is an enriching pursuit for all involved. And the reflection is, are you avoiding brainstorming different solutions when faced with a problem? Yeah, that's definitely, I think, something we can all reflect on. I definitely think this can connect to the phases in that, you're having to create new opportunities, solutions, and yes, the universe or whoever you believe in can guide you, I suppose, or things can kind of surprise you outside factors or people, but the odds of someone knocking on your door with all your dreams and goals handed to you in a package is just really rare. It's not impossible, but it's definitely rare, And a lot of that comes with some of the work you stir up, right? The ingredients you put in. And some of that could be just certain practices. It could be hard work, obviously, or it could be even just mental work, just the healing work needed. Especially when we're talking about caring for others or impacting people around you. If you're in any kind of relationship or friendship or family, if you have people in your life, it's probably going to be important for you to know that by caring for those people, inevitably filling your cup is going to be really important, and continuously doing that. It doesn't mean ignoring people or, pushing people away because you always want to be doing what you want to do. It's finding that intersection of meeting other people's needs and also meeting your own, and knowing that you have the power to meet your own needs and support those around you. But you will only feel so much strength and desire to help those around you if you're reflecting your own love to yourself, like if you have a lot of love in your heart, or you care about people, or you feel very empathetic, a lot of the time it feels really easy to emulate that to others, to care for other people, give them money, give them gifts, give them your time. And that can be sometimes really easy for some people, maybe too easy in a people-pleasing kind of way. But when you kind of think about your own needs, you often neglect them. Maybe you're not spending time with yourself. Maybe you're not challenging yourself. You're kind of thinking about something you really want to do, but you're just kind of putting it off because you just feel like there's so many other responsibilities that you need to be doing, that other people want you to be doing. And while maybe they do expect you to do certain things, it's only going to build resentment if you don't give yourself love at the end of the day, right? Like, if you're not happy, then it's probably impacting how you are as a person to those people. They might be like, wow, they look really unhappy. I wonder what's going on. Or you might still be giving things or giving time, giving love, but maybe you're feeling more dissociated. Maybe you're not as present with people. Maybe you're finding it hard to think of things to say or do to support others because you just feel exhausted. And that's likely not because you need to be giving more to others. It's because you're not feeding yourself the things you need. You're not focusing on the ingredients you need to support your own self, to nurture yourself. And you'll find that you might have enough to share with others, right? You have enough in your cup to give enough to others without feeling depleted. What do you need to fill your cup with in order to have enough to share with others, to show up in your relationships? What environment do you need to be in? What changes in certain relationships do you need to make in order to make yourself your happiest version, your best self? And yes, that can mean that you ask for help. Like maybe your unmet needs here, your cup needs to be filled by going to get help from someone, asking for support for yourself, and letting them take care of you for a little bit, because you know that one day you can take care of other people. It's just this beautiful cycle, this beautiful relationship we all have as humans, where if someone has needs, odds are some of us are ready to give and have our cup filled to support others. So maybe your cup needs to be supported by others, and that's definitely asking you to be more vulnerable, share what you need with others, and see how they can support you. All right, the last card here is Spring. It's rebuilding, awakening, and rebirth. The reawakening of the earth is always inspiring. New life is on the horizon, It can be invigorating to witness the stirring of energy after a long rest. Spring tells you that it's time for new beginnings. It's the perfect time to launch a new project, or if there are things you previously put on hold, the spring card suggests that now is an auspicious time to revisit them. You will bring a refreshed perspective to this project and a new level of energy that you didn't have before. Perhaps all that was needed was a new approach after some time away and a new burst of motivation and determination. Is there a project you want to launch that you've previously ignored? Yeah, this is a beautiful kind of representation of there's something that is calling to you. And I want you to know that time, I think that there's so many of us just operating as though we literally have absolutely no time. And while I understand that notion of you only have today, the truth is that you cannot possibly do everything in one day, right? Or in one moment. And that's just something you have to kind of accept. Just like things take time to grow, it's okay for you to take time with something, because that's just how it operates. It takes time. And I think there is a beautiful peace and acceptance of the unknown when we accept that some things just take time. And even before we know it, you wake up one day and something has been born or something has grown, and you're like, wow, that thing I started 2 years ago is now in its fruition. And it's almost like it was yesterday, So time is just really, it truly is a concept. And I want you to know that you can be supported by that. You do not need to rush around your day like everything is on fire, like everything is in danger, everything is pivotal, because most of our lives, most of our days are not spent, with that need. Like, there really isn't a necessity to that, unless you're obviously in maybe a position or industry where life really is on the line for helping others, that kind of thing. Going back to we all need to fill our cups, we all need time. Certain phases of our life require time, and maybe you are working on a project and it was just a struggle, and so you took a break and then you came back to it, or you felt motivation to come back to it months later, years later. And I think we get so caught up in this immediate gratification, oh, I can just do something really quick and produce it quickly and get some kind of immediate reaction, where a lot of things in life just don't operate that way. A lot of things just take time to create. They take time to make. Back hundreds of years ago, people took their time. They made beautiful, amazing things, and it took years. It took hundreds of years. It took decades. And it's interesting to see that maybe time was something much slower back then. Maybe the perception of it was a little different, and now it just feels like we're all feeling like we're running out of time. I don't know why, but yeah, I think that spring is a great metaphor for not just seeing what growth is around you and just being grateful for that growth and what seeds you planted, but knowing you can plant seeds again and new growth can come forth. All of these cards to me really show that these cycles, this navigating you're doing of finding what's meaningful to you and how to sort of just operate within your emotional world, and also how that impacts the physical world, and how you can live in balance and not complete instability all the time, but also accepting that sometimes instability has to happen. but that it comes back around. That's, one side. And then maybe that means just being really honest with yourself about what you need and the unmet needs you have and how you may need additional support right now. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask yourself what you need. Maybe it's not others, but just sitting with yourself and being like, what do I need to feel happy? What do I need to feel safe? What do I need to feel loved? What have I maybe not been thinking about? And discovering a new recipe. And it kind of allows you to be that person who can serve others if that's your calling. And then also just that rebuilding. Like once you get your support, once you find what you need, starting to plant those seeds and rebuild a little bit towards which that you want to create your goals, your manifestations, your desires, or just being open, new desires coming in you hadn't thought of before. So yeah, I hope that this reading resonated with you and you took what you needed. I really appreciate you. And yeah, thank you so much for listening in or watching. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Thanks, Group 2. All right, we have Group 3. Welcome. This is your reading. And you have the Amethyst Spirit Quartz. And it's just a very beautiful, dreamy crystal. Okay, so we pulled 3 cards for you. So we'll go through each of them. The first one is Hedge. It says potential boundaries, indecision, mortar and pestle, integration, subtlety, thoroughness. Next, we have Salt, protection, banishing negativity. So we'll go through the guidebook to start us off with the meanings. So we'll do the first one. Okay, so here we have hedge. The hedge or natural boundary serves 2 purposes: to define a safe zone protecting you from what's outside, or to keep you in one place, like a pin. The hedge card asks you to review your own boundaries and how you respond to boundaries created by others. A hedge is also a symbol of moving between 2 states of being or 2 worlds. Riding the hedge is a phrase used to describe spirit journeys where a witch's awareness travels to acquire information and undertake new experiences. The hedge belongs to neither world, being the liminal space between the 2. If you are in that liminal space, it's time to choose which side to step into for now. You can't stay there forever. Do you need to be firmer about how you allow others to impact you? Or are your boundaries so strong that you push people away? It can definitely be a challenge to sort of understand boundaries, and I think it's just a lifelong journey. I don't think any of us are, experts by any means. I think some are able to navigate them better than others, or it just depends on the people in your life that respect and honor you and your choices and your decisions. But I think it's safe to say that each of us has intuition and we feel what may be right for us. And that can be like your calling, your internal signal to what is good for you and what isn't. And, some things are easily more apparent about what isn't right for us than others. But that's what wisdom and growth is about. Sometimes people come into our lives and show us that as well. So there's value in self-reflection, self-learning, but also learning from others. And I do actually feel we learn the most when we are in community, when we are with people. It just really is powerful when you're amongst others, giving you different perspectives, different understandings, way of life, and even gives you ideas about how you can live your life that maybe you haven't thought of before. Something really interesting about this picture is this like sort of two directions. There's also a scale in the back representing balance. One path almost looks like it's leading to a semi-open gate. I think it's kind of showing how your decisions, your boundaries, your choices are guiding you on a journey that you're trying to kind of maintain balance, you're maintaining fairness. It can be challenging when maybe someone doesn't respect the boundaries or they're trying to stand in your way. And to that I say the direction just changes, right? Someone might be standing in your way, and again, this is for like general situations. If someone's like physically keeping you from doing something, that's obviously so much more to that. But even I would say in the most difficult circumstances, it's just depending on the complexity of the new choice you now have to make, right? So if someone is standing in your way, if someone is not respecting your boundary or decision, it just means now you have to change your boundary to be firmer, to be more concrete, to follow your path through, because that is what's best for you. And you have to continue asking yourself, what is important to you? What do you need? Maybe now you have new information and someone's like, well, you never had a problem before. You never had issues with this thing before. And you can to that say, I have new information. I can change my mind. And this is where I'm at. And this is what I need to be, safe. This is what I need to be loved. This is what I need to be comfortable. This is what I need to be efficient. And right now it's not working for me, and so now I'm communicating what I do need, and now it's up to the other person to either honor that or not. And you have now options based on what they, inevitably decide to do as well. This card is definitely showing that there is always a way through, and it just is a matter of changing directions if you need to, and navigating. So let's continue on with the next card for further insight. We have Mortar and Pestle, Integration, Subtlety, Thoroughness. So for Mortar and Pestle, the goals of the Mortar and Pestle are twofold. First, to reduce the size of something, and then to combine ingredients. In a spell, in order to evenly combine your components, you need to break them down into smaller parts. The grinding motion used with a mortar and pestle can appear aggressive, and applying too much force can make your ingredients fly everywhere. Use finesse. Be gentle but thorough. Take the time to blend things evenly. This card tells you that something in your life needs to be better incorporated. It could be as simple as integrating your practice into daily life, or something more complex like finding balance between two relationships. Whatever it is, take it slow, or you'll scatter what you're trying to integrate. What parts of your life do you need to blend more seamlessly? This card, there's this definite need to take a moment, take a beat, and reflect on what is necessary to slow down, and what can wait, because there's a lot of things. I mentioned this previously in a previous reading, but time is really a construct, and you can take time to do things. Not everything needs to be done today, nor should it, right? There's a lot of things that require time and growth, time to expand, time for nurture. And there's some things, yes, that do require our immediate attention, but they will come back to you when needed, right? The immediate things happen whether we want them to or not. And then that's when we take action. But for the things that we have control over, I think it's really easy for us to shove as much as we want in our to-do list, shove as much as we want in our week. And when you take a step back, it's looking at your time and being honest about, do I need to be doing all of this? Or maybe there's something taking up all your time and you might be thinking, well, I don't have time for anything else because of this, these responsibilities, this job. Maybe you're taking care of kids. Maybe you're a caretaker. Maybe you feel like your time is really being controlled by other factors or other people. And that you might need to ask yourself honestly, is that going to make you your best self to continue to show up for other people in your life, to really give love, generosity, care, by literally draining all your energy week after week, day after day? What is left of you to really give? Can you see that being sustainable? Because it's probably not. It's probably not sustainable, and you're gonna inevitably fail. So if you know that that is the path you're on, it's not going to be sustainable, it's probably a sign to take that time. Maybe you do need a whole vacation. Some people need that. Some people need days. And maybe you prioritize that so that you can fill your cup of energy so that you can figure out what it really is that you need to continue forward in a sustainable way. Because without that integration, that thoughtfulness of the things that require you and that you feel you need in life to make something, happen, you're just going to end up feeling scattered, feeling rough, feeling just like you have no control. But I think this card is speaking to the control you do have, and it might be finding that support you need to take the time you need to get the care you need. And I don't think that that's easy. I do think that that's difficult for a lot of people. So I do want to speak to that that's really difficult for a lot of people to find the support they need, especially when things cost so much or they're in really difficult situations. But I think if you found this reading and you're tracking with me so far, I hope that this shows that there's still something within you. There are still things within you you can feel some sense of control over, whether that's slowing things down a little bit, finding ways to work with the situation you've been given, and enable boundaries within the situations you're in to continue to advocate for yourself and to integrate all that which you need to be sustainable, to be whole, to create something that inevitably helps you become your best version. What are areas you need to be blending better to create something more cohesive, more stable for you while navigating ups and downs, right? It's not about removing every high and low because that's kind of impossible, but it's about creating something stable for yourself, tools for yourself, perspectives for yourself that help you navigate these situations and not feel so run down, drained, frozen, fearful, feeling hopeless, or like you have no control, because there is something within you. And it might feel small, it might feel insignificant right now, but I promise that by recognizing that small thing, you're going to notice how much more impact it really has on you and your life. Okay, so now we have salt, protection, banishing negativity. So, salt is essential to life. This mineral is so precious that it has been used as currency at times in history when its collection was labor-intensive and time-consuming. In magic, it is an all-purpose component used to create barriers to protect you, as a purifying ingredient in various blessing or holy waters, and as a cleansing implement that removes unwanted energy from magical tools or spaces. The salt card reminds you that you have easy means to dispel negativity and protect yourself. You don't have to struggle. Salt is your partner in self-defense. Draw boundaries and keep yourself guarded against negativity. Remember to keep the energy surrounding you as clean as possible. Is there someone or something you need to set a boundary with for your own well-being? I think a lot of times we talk about boundaries, we do often think about other people, right? Like, oh, I don't want them to be doing XYZ, so I need to tell them what I do want, right? But I think that there's more about boundaries within ourselves. It says more about who we are, what we want, and it's not really asking other people to necessarily do something as much as it's you saying what you want to do, what your plans are, how you're going to operate, and is the other person willing to reciprocate or meet you where you're at or work with you? Because obviously collaboration is important, especially in like relationships. Maybe you're doing something that's, impacting their boundaries. So it goes both ways. But of course with this, I think there's even this strong feeling that there needs to be boundaries within yourself, if that makes sense. Like, you need to be setting boundaries with you first, and then that sort of pours out to other people or other situations. I think there's probably an overwhelm of negativity and overwhelming thoughts that continue to challenge you. Like, it's very easy to write in your mind negative outcomes, negative stories. It's really easy for your mind to jump to narratives that sort of spiral into these stories that by the time you're finished telling yourself the story, you have really no idea how you got there. Maybe there's stories you're telling yourself about people, how they might be feeling, like what they might be doing, and you don't really have any like evidence per se to like prove that narrative, but at the end of the day, the damage is done. You have told yourself the narrative and it's made you feel less loving, less caring, less hopeful, less self-assured, less secure. And so now you're left feeling like a shell because of this negative story your mind has you listening to. And it's a real challenge to take your mind and gently tell it, hey, I think we're saying a negative story right now. I think we're writing a narrative here that isn't true. And I know that this is just a tactic for my brain to protect me. But this isn't actually helping me right now. It's actually not serving me. It's not making me feel secure, strong, confident, self-assured. It's not giving me the capacity to love. It's not making me feel energized. It's not making me feel peace or stable or like I have a clear head. So it probably is a story that isn't worth continuing to ruminate on, especially if there's no evidence for it, right? I would gently and strongly encourage you to, maybe it is using salt, maybe for a little bit, like physically get some table salt if you want, and just like maybe pouring it out a little bit on a surface, and just like a little ritual of like, I'm banishing my negative storytelling. It doesn't serve me right now. There's no evidence, there's no truth right now to it. Unless the evidence is presented to me, then I can have those feelings. Then there's room for anger or disappointment or whatnot. But for right now, everything is fine, and all that's happening is my mind is telling me a story that is like a scary story. So you can use physical salt maybe to like help practice that, but it's definitely this, of course, metaphor for protecting your energy especially because other people are just around you bringing an energy that is bringing you down. And honestly, hopelessness and despair really isn't going to do much. It's just quite a truth that it's not going to help, it's not going to serve anyone. It might be worth changing the narrative and being like, you know what, maybe instead of this being hopelessness or powerlessness, it's really actually I have something, I do have power, I have impact, I have intention, I have good intentions, I have the ability to create a safe space for myself, I trust myself, I accept who I am, and I accept that I'm growing into who I want to become. You know, maybe some self-affirmations can also be part of this ritual, so you can start to change how your mind is navigating. And I will say, after a little bit, when you start to recognize your brain telling you scary stories, you start to immediately catch it, and you're like, whoa, why am I thinking like that? This intrusive thought is actually completely imaginary, and there's literally no reason for it. And maybe turn it back to yourself and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Do I need love? Do I need support? Do I need reassurance? And find ways to serve yourself with those things, whatever that looks like. Ask someone for a hug. Ask someone to, be there with you and hear about your feelings. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself self-affirmations. Feed yourself good things. Take yourself out on a walk. Go towards the things that give you light and happiness and energy and brightness and solidness and stability, and continue to go after those things, because you will be diverted. You will be given, obstacles. You will be challenged to walk down different paths, but you have what you need. You have the ingredients. They might seem small and insignificant, and maybe like they don't make a big difference, but they do, because they make up who you are, and they make up what your intentions are. I think that concludes your reading. I feel like that was a long one, but I hope that you can find ways to protect your energy, to be, slowing down and thoughtful, and know that whatever comes your way, you have the power to navigate it and set the boundaries you need to love yourself and also love others. Okay. Well, I hope that this was a helpful reading and you resonated with something today. Hope that you are doing well wherever you are, and I wish you all the best. Thanks again.